I want a divorce, and I will tell everyone at home what you have done.
In the bustling heart of Nairobi, where the sun kissed the red earth streets and the air hummed with street vendors hawking fresh nyama choma, lived Amina. She was a vibrant woman in her late 20s, with skin like polished ebony and eyes that sparkled like the stars over the Masai Mara. Amina had grown up in a small village near Mount Kenya, where traditions ran deep like the roots of the ancient baobab trees. There, at the tender age of 19, she had met Juma, her first and only love. He was a strong, kind-hearted man, a teacher who dreamed of building schools for orphaned children. Their wedding was a joyous affair, with ululations echoing through the night, colorful kanga fabrics swirling in dances, and feasts of ugali and sukuma wiki shared under the open sky. Amina believed in forever. Juma was her anchor, her home. For years, their life in the city was a tapestry of simple joys. Juma worked tirelessly at a local primary school, coming home with stories of his students' mischief that made Amina laugh until her sides ached. She ran a small tailoring shop in the market, stitching intricate patterns inspired by Kikuyu folklore into dresses and shirts. Their evenings were spent on their tiny balcony, sipping chai spiced with cardamom, watching the city lights flicker like fireflies. Amina adored him, his gentle touch, his unwavering support when she lost her mother to illness, his dreams that mirrored her own. "You are my sun and my rain," she'd whisper to him under the mosquito net, and he'd pull her close, promising eternity. But life, like the unpredictable savanna winds, has a way of shifting sands. One sweltering afternoon, while delivering a custom kitenge gown to a client at a high-end art gallery in Westlands, Amina met Kwame. He was a charismatic sculptor from Ghana, visiting Nairobi for an exhibition of his works. Kwame's smile was wide as the Volta River, his voice a deep baritone that resonated like a talking drum. He admired Amina's gown, calling it a masterpiece woven with soul, and invited her to stay for the opening. Flattered, she accepted, telling herself it was just networking for her business. As the evening unfolded amid jazz tunes and glasses of palm wine, Kwame shared tales of his homeland. Amina found herself drawn in, her laughter freer than it had been in months. Juma had been distant lately, buried in grant proposals for his school project, their conversations reduced to practicalities. With Kwame, words flowed like the Nile, poetic, alive. He saw her not just as a wife or tailor, but as a creator, a dreamer. "You have fire in your hands, Amina," he said, his fingers brushing hers as he showed her how to feel the grain of wood. A spark ignited, subtle at first, like embers under ash. Days turned to weeks, and what began as innocent coffee meetups evolved into stolen moments. Kwame's temporary studio in a leafy suburb became their sanctuary. He'd sculpt while she sketched designs, their talks delving deeper. Amina confessed how Juma's ambitions, once inspiring, now left her feeling invisible, like a shadow in her own marriage. Kwame shared his own burdens. A marriage back in Ghana to Isi, a dutiful woman who managed his affairs but whose love had cooled to routine. "We are birds in cages we built ourselves," he murmured one evening, as the sun dipped low and their lips met for the first time. It was electric, forbidden, a rush like leaping from Victoria Falls. Amina felt alive, desired, her heart pounding with guilt and exhilaration. Their affair bloomed in secrecy, a hidden garden amid the city's chaos. They'd rendezvous in quiet parks near Uhuru Gardens, where jacaranda petals carpeted the ground like purple rain, or slip away to a secluded Airbnb overlooking the Ngong Hills. Kwame gifted her a carved pendant of a lioness, symbolizing her strength. Amina sewed him a shirt embroidered with Adinkra symbols for love and protection. Passion consumed them, nights of whispered Swahili and Twi, bodies entwined like vines on an acacia tree. Yet Amina wrestled with her conscience. Juma was still her first, her vow-keeper, but Kwame unlocked doors she didn't know existed. "This is madness," she'd think, staring at her reflection in the mirror. but the pull was irresistible, a siren's call across the savannah. Fate, however, is a cunning weaver. One fateful weekend, Juma, sensing Amina's growing distance, her late nights at the shop, her distracted smiles, followed her intuition's whisper. He tailed her to the studio, his heart heavy as a rain-soaked drum. Peering through a cracked window, he saw them. Amina in Kwame's arms, laughter turning to intimacy. Devastated, Juma retreated, but not before snapping a photo on his phone, evidence of the betrayal that shattered his world. Meanwhile, across the ocean in Accra, Essie grew suspicious. Kwame's prolonged business trip and cryptic messages raised alarms. A tech-savvy banker, she hacked into his email, finding love notes, photos of Nairobi sunsets shared with Amina, and hotel bookings. Fury ignited like a bushfire. AC booked the next flight to Kenya, determined to confront the intruder in her marriage. AC arrived unannounced at Kwame's studio, bursting in during a clandestine meeting. "Who is this harlot stealing my husband?" she roared, her voice echoing off the clay walls. Amina froze, half-dressed as Kwame stammered excuses. Chaos ensued, AC hurling a sculpture that shattered into pieces symbolizing their broken trust. In the melee, Juma, who had been waiting outside after an anonymous tip, stormed in. "Amina, how could you?" His eyes, once full of love, now brimmed with pain and rage. Juma accused Amina of destroying their sacred bond, invoking the ancestors who watched over their union. AC, fierce as a she-wolf, slapped Kwame and vowed divorce, exposing his lies to their families back home. Kwame, cornered, begged forgiveness from both women. But it was too late. Essie dragged him to the airport, forcing him back to Ghana to face the consequences. Lost reputation, a shattered career, and a loveless separation. Amina returned home with Juma, the air thick with unspoken wounds. He forgave her outwardly for the sake of their shared history and the village elders' council, but trust was a ghost. Their nights became silent voids, touches mechanical, dreams haunted. Amina lost Kwame forever, his messages blocked, his presence a fading echo. She stayed in the marriage, bound by culture, guilt, and the fear of scandal rippling through their community like a drought. But deep down, she knew happiness was a mirage, evaporated like morning dew on the plains. In the quiet hours, as Nairobi's lights twinkled mockingly, Amina wondered if love was ever truly eternal, or just a story we tell ourselves under the African stars.